The 42nd floor of the Meridian Tower housed some of the most prestigious financial offices in the city, where deals worth millions were negotiated daily behind gleaming glass walls. Ahmed al-Rashid sat at the head of the polished conference table, his traditional keffiyeh a mark of cultural pride, as he reviewed the final details of a major investment proposal with his international team. At 39, Ahmed had built his fortune through careful investments and an intuitive understanding of global markets. His success had earned him respect in financial circles worldwide, though he sometimes struggled with the arrogance that wealth and achievement could bring. Today's meeting involved a significant acquisition that would expand his portfolio into emerging markets across 3 continents. The conference room buzzed with the quiet efficiency of high-stakes business when an unexpected interruption occurred. The door opened and 12-year-old Marcus Washington stepped inside, clearly looking for someone. The boy wore a simple red t-shirt and carried a worn backpack, his presence a stark contrast to the suited executives around the table. Marcus had been waiting for his mother, Janet Washington, who worked as part of the evening cleaning crew. School had ended early due to a teacher conference day, and he often spent these afternoons quietly doing homework in the break room until his mother finished her shift. "Excuse me," Marcus said politely. "I am looking for my mother, Janet Washington. She cleans the offices here." The executives at the table exchanged glances, some looking uncomfortable at the interruption. Ahmed looked up from his documents with mild irritation at having his meeting disturbed. "Young man, this is a private business meeting," Ahmed said, his tone carrying the authority of someone unaccustomed to being interrupted. "You should not be in here." Marcus stood his ground respectfully but confidently. "I apologize for interrupting, sir. I was told she might be working on this floor." Ahmed's expression showed his impatience. "Do you have any idea what kind of business we conduct? Here. These are complex international negotiations requiring expertise you could not possibly understand." Something in Ahmed's dismissive tone seemed to spark something in Marcus. The boy straightened his shoulders and looked directly at the businessman. "Actually, sir, I speak 9 languages fluently," Marcus said calmly. "Arabic, English, Spanish, French, Mandarin, Portuguese, German, Italian, and Swahili. I have been listening to your conversation, and I noticed you have been mispronouncing several Arabic terms in your presentation." Ahmed laughed, the sound carrying more condescension than humor. 9 languages? You are 12 years old and your mother cleans offices. That is quite an imagination you have. The other executives smiled uncomfortably, unsure how to handle the unusual situation, but Marcus remained composed, his young face serious but not defensive. "With respect, sir," Marcus continued in perfect formal Arabic, "you have been saying musharaka when you mean mudaraba, when discussing your profit-sharing arrangements. Musharaka implies equal partnership, while mudaraba refers to a silent partnership where one party provides capital and the other provides expertise." Ahmed's smile faded as he realized the boy had just corrected a significant error in Arabic, financial terminology that none of his other advisors had caught. Marcus switched seamlessly to Mandarin, addressing the Chinese investors at the table directly. "I also noticed that the market projections for the Shanghai expansion may be based on outdated currency exchange rates that could affect your projected returns by approximately 8%. The Chinese executives looked startled, then began speaking rapidly among themselves in Mandarin, clearly impressed and concerned about the accuracy of the boy's observation. Marcus continued in fluent French to the European representatives. "Your environmental impact assessments for the Paris project appear to use standards that were updated 6 months ago. The new regulations could significantly affect your timeline and budget." The room had fallen completely silent. Ahmed stared at this 12-year-old boy who had just demonstrated not only linguistic abilities that surpassed most of his paid consultants, but also a grasp of complex international business concepts that many adults would struggle to understand. "How do you know all this?" Ahmed asked, his voice now carrying respect rather than dismissal. Marcus adjusted his backpack and answered simply, "I spend a lot of time here while my mother works. I listen, I read the documents people throw away, and I study online using the guest Wi-Fi. I want to understand how the world works so I can help people someday." He paused, then added with the wisdom that sometimes comes from hardship, "My mother always tells me that knowledge is the one thing no one can ever take away from you, no matter who you are or where you come from." Ahmed felt a profound shift in his understanding. This boy, whose mother cleaned the very offices where million-dollar decisions were made, had been quietly absorbing and analyzing information that highly paid experts had missed. His assumptions about intelligence, potential, and worth had just been thoroughly challenged by a child. "What is your name?" Ahmed asked gently. "Marcus Washington, sir." Ahmed stood up and walked around the table to face Marcus directly. "Marcus Washington, would you be willing to sit with us for a few minutes? I think we could benefit from your observations." Marcus looked uncertain. "I do not want to get my mother in trouble, sir." "Your mother will not be in trouble," Ahmed assured him. "In fact, I think she has raised a remarkable young man who has just prevented us from making several costly mistakes." Over the next hour, Marcus provided insights that saved the investment group hundreds of thousands of dollars in projected losses and regulatory complications. His ability to synthesize information from multiple cultural and linguistic perspectives proved invaluable in understanding the nuances of international business. When Janet Washington finally arrived, worried about her son's whereabouts, she found him seated at the conference table, treated with the same respect as the other advisors in the room. "Marcus," she said, clearly concerned, "I hope you have not been bothering these gentlemen." Ahmed stood immediately. "Mrs. Washington, your son has not been bothering us. He has been educating us. In fact, I would like to discuss something with you both." He turned to Marcus with genuine admiration. "Young man, you have demonstrated abilities that are extraordinary by any measure. How would you feel about a formal position as a junior consultant with my firm? Part-time, of course, so it does not interfere with your education." Marcus's eyes widened, but he looked to his mother before responding. Janet stared in amazement, struggling to understand how her son's afternoon of waiting had led to this moment. "Furthermore," Ahmed continued, "I would like to establish an educational trust fund to ensure that Marcus has access to the finest schools and universities. Talent like his should be nurtured, not left to chance." He paused, looking directly at Janet with respect and gratitude. "Mrs. Washington, you have raised a son who has more wisdom and capability than most adults I work with. I would be honored to help support his future in any way I can." 6 months later, Marcus Washington was attending one of the city's most prestigious private schools on full scholarship, while continuing to work part-time as the youngest consultant in Ahmed al-Rashid's firm. His insights into cross-cultural communication and international markets had already contributed to several successful ventures. Janet Washington had been offered a position in the company's facilities management department, with benefits and a salary that allowed her family to move to a better neighborhood while maintaining her pride in honest work well done. Ahmed often reflected on that afternoon when his assumptions about worth and potential had been completely overturned by a 12-year-old boy. Marcus had taught him that intelligence and wisdom are not determined by circumstances of birth or social status, but by curiosity, dedication, and the courage to speak up when you have something valuable to contribute. The language barrier Ahmed thought he understood that day was not about Arabic, Mandarin, or French. It was about learning to speak the universal language of respect for human potential, regardless of where it is found or how it is packaged. Marcus's mother had been right. Knowledge truly is something that can never be taken away. But Ahmed learned something equally important. The willingness to recognize and nurture that knowledge wherever you find it is what separates true leaders from those who merely hold positions of power.